Okay, let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Once again, welcome to the Antwalk masterclass session on digital marketing. I know it's a weekday, it's 6 p.m. in the evening, so I'm glad a lot of you could make out some time. Today, we have a very interesting session on search engine optimization which is a very important and crucial lever for any digital marketer, and in specifically, what are some of the tools that some of the brightest digital marketers are using out there as of today. So today's agenda for the session will be, I'll of course take a few minutes to introduce our esteemed speaker, Venkat, and then Venkat will run the show. He will go through the basics of SEO, and then we'll quickly dive into what are some of the tools used in different subtopics or sub dimensions within SEO, whether it's keyword research, backlinking and analysis, how do you run a technical SEO audit, and finally, of course, how do you track your ranking and traffic that's coming on your website? Because at the end of the day, as digital marketers, we are all gunning for that single North Star metric. How do I get more people on my website, right? So without further ado, let me get into introducing our speaker. So Venkat, welcome to Antwalk Masterclass. We have a lot of interest in this topic. As you can see, we have close to 85 people already in the session. We should be getting a few more people. So let me quickly introduce our speaker in a few words. So Venkat is a passionate digital marketer. He has more than a decade of experience in full stack digital marketing. Currently, he is the head of digital marketing at MoEngage. A lot of you must be familiar with the company. It's basically a marketing analytics startup, a very successful one, and he heads the digital marketing in MoEngage. He is responsible for what he likes to call as all things digital, from demand and lead generation to account-based marketing, SEO, organic growth, and of course conversion rate optimization, among other things. Previously, Venkat was working on a similar role, but at a different startup, MySmartPrice, where he was leading their digital marketing and various growth initiatives. Venkat brings with him a plethora of expertise in SEO, search engine marketing, social media, web data analytics, and of course, this exposure is diverse across B2B and B2C space. He's an alum from IIT Kharagpur with a dual degree with both a BTech and MTech degree. With that, once again, a very warm welcome to Venkat. I'm glad you were able to make this session today. I think it's going to be a very engaging one.
Hey, thanks, Sriram. Thanks for the introduction, and also thanks for having me here and the opportunity. It sounds pretty exciting because I can already see like 100 people joining in, and hopefully like the session will be insightful for people like who are trying to get into digital marketing as a function, or like trying to start a career in digital marketing, or trying to upskill in any of these additional tactics or channels like which they might not be that experienced in already. So yeah, so I've been, as Sriram has been mentioning, like I've been working in the digital marketing for close to 10 years now. So all things digital, covering SEO, SEM, paid marketing, performance marketing, social media marketing, content marketing, email marketing, and even the web analytics part, which is pretty important because all the traffic which you get through any of these channels is only relevant like when it makes or it converts, right, and it drives to revenue. So even that aspect of it. So yeah, I had been with MySmartPrice for more than 6 years. Like I've been pretty much learned like what SEO is. I mean, like I started as a data analyst. I started my career as a data analyst. Later moved on to the digital marketing aspects, because back then, even in India, like the internet economy is kind of booming in like 2012, 13 era. And then, the startup I was a part of, like it's primarily a price comparison website. And it had to do a lot with the traffic from all the search engines, right? By search engines, primarily Google is what I mean.
Right.
So SEO and SEM were very important channels for that. And from data analytics, I kind of pivoted to SEM first and some of performance marketing in other channels, with Facebook or so. And then later moved on to SEO because, SEO, I mean, like the positive or the positive I see with SEO is like the traffic is like free, right? Compared to a paid channel. In the sense, like someday, like when you're out of budget, like you still get to make the traffic and revenue from once the channel is earned. Although, like you need to keep a consistent upkeep with the optimization techniques, the traffic which you're getting from this channel, because like now and then, like Google comes up with this major core algo updates, and if one update impacts your website traffic, and probably if you're solely dependent upon SEO traffic, even that is like a pretty big this thing impact to the overall revenue of the website, right? So having said that, so SEO also kind of how do I put it, establish the trust, because like people probably tend to trust the organic links or the results more than the paid results. Correct. So yeah, so that's brief into what I have been doing, and currently I'm leading the digital marketing team at MoEngage. It's been like more than 1.5 years here, and yeah, I'm pretty much doing or looking at the same things like what I've been doing before. Yep.
Got it. Thanks for that, Venkat. I think I have stopped my screen share, so you can present the presentation, and then we can get into the meat. I think people are looking for some advice from your side.
Sure. I'm just starting. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So
just one couple of instructions for folks on the call today, guys. This is going to be a very engaging session, not just from the content that Venkat is going to be talking us through and showing us demos on, but we will also be interacting with you guys. We'll be running a bunch of polls at intermediate sessions, during intervals, and please participate, put your questions in the chat box. And of course, I request all of you to stay on mute so that it's convenient for everybody on the call today. Thank you. Over to you, Venkat.
Sure. Thanks, Sriram. Yeah. So Sriram covered a bit about this session agenda today already. So I'm quickly diving into. So yeah, what is SEO? I guess like a lot of people would have actually heard this particular phrase that SEO is dead. I mean, people have been telling this at least for the past 10, 15 years. So one thing like which probably changed is the way people knew SEO, or the things like which probably worked in SEO like back in early 2000s, or even around like 2010, 2015, right? So that got changed a lot. It kind of evolved. I mean, like it's not dead, but the practices or the techniques or the activities like which you perform for SEO, like they kind of evolved because with time, I mean, like Google is becoming more and more smart in actually figuring out people like who are trying to game the ranking algorithm or the system, right? So that's pretty much where we are with respect to what SEO is, and coming to like what exactly it is. So it's actually a process of improving the website traffic or your brand traffic in any of the search engines organic results. So by search engine, what I mean is like it's not necessarily Google. Anywhere like where people might be going and searching for something, a particular product or a particular service or particular solution, be it Google or Bing or YouTube or Pinterest or Amazon. So the organic results which come up there, like if your brand or if your website wants to be there, so how to get into those top 10 or 15 or 20 whatever results that which are visible there, so that you can increase your website traffic or brand presence. So the overall process or practice can be called as SEO. I mean, like in short, it stands for search engine optimization, and it's actually to optimize your organic rankings for any search engine. But for most of this session, like we'll be broadly focusing on Google, because like that is a major driver for most of the websites and brands. And yeah, so and the other thing like which we know, which we should be knowing like while we're doing SEO is like what is the intent of the people, right? Like what are they searching about? I mean, like when they're searching for something, what is the type of content like which they want to consume? So if they're expecting a video, I mean, like if you're want to redirect them to a page like which has just text, then probably that is not the most optimized way, right? So in the sense like you should be knowing the intent of the queries, like what people might be searching. Like if you have a product or service, you should first be researching about like what are the type of keywords or what are the type of queries like which people might be asking in any of the search engines, and then what is that something like which they will probably end up consuming without even trying to get into other websites or other results, right? Because like the objective and that objective should be like if they are landing on your website from the search engine result page, like they should be able to get the answer in your particular website itself, rather than going back to the search engine result page and getting results from any other websites. So that is something which is the key now, and over time, like it has been, Google has been better in figuring this out, like the intent, the whole intent part. So this is something which, apart from the traditional SEO organic techniques, people should be mainly focusing on what keywords and what is the intent behind those keywords, and what are the things like which people would like to consume. So yeah, so broadly, if we can categorize all these optimization techniques within SEO, like we can, because see the way how probably a search engine works, in the sense like first it crawls the website, then it stores all the information, whatever it can understand from the website, and it puts them in an index, and then it has an index for all the relevant pages. Like whenever a user searches for something, it has a list of pages in the index, and then it tries to rank them based on 200 plus different ranking factors, right? So although like some of these might be major, some of these might be minor, broadly we can categorize all these ranking factors into like some three different types, right? So one is on page, and I'll be slightly talking about what some of these things mean, like what on page means, what off page means, and what technical SEO means, without getting into a lot of detail. So what on page means is that, so whatever optimization you're doing as a part of the page itself, or as a part of the code of the page, right? I mean, like something which you can see on the page, starting from the HTML title to headers to meta description. I mean, like the content on the page to on the code of the page, right? There are a lot of directives. There are a lot of other meta descriptions, meta keywords, and a lot of schema and structured data like which you can put on the page so that it can be optimized further for the target keyword which you want to rank, right? So all these come under off page. So basically beefing up your own content on the website as relevant to the target keyword like which you want, which you're trying for, right? So that is one. The second, coming to the off page, even though we have the best content, Google would still need those external validations, right? In the sense like if I mean, like how do people off page actually gets that trust factor into the entire ranking? So how do people know that, like, say you might be having the best page, say probably for buying Puma shoes online as an example, but how do people, how does Google know that your page is the better page than anyone else, right? So there it looks for some off page signals. So like how many other websites are linking to your page or to your domain, and how many times probably your brand has been mentioned, or what has your brand reviews mean, and what are your social signals, and some of these things, right? Like how is your brand mentions happening over the web, and how many backlinks you are getting to your domain or to that particular page, right? Again, from the relevant website is what we should be considering, not any website. An irrelevant website linking to you might not add any value to your off-page SEO activities. And the third is technical. You might be having the best content, you are having the best link profile, but still if Google bot is not able to crawl your page, or it's not able to understand your page, or
Venkat sir, good evening.
Yeah, Kishan. Sorry.
That's okay, Venkat. Yeah, you can continue.
Okay, yeah. So the third thing is the technical SEO part of it. So in the sense, you might be having the best content and best link profile, but if the users, if the Google bot is not able to crawl your page or index your page, or I mean, like that's pretty much doesn't make any sense, right? So in the sense, like we need to make sure that be it the Google bot or any other crawling bot should be able to access our content, not just in bits and pieces, the content which we think we require for the SEO part, and also see that these pages are indexed well in the Google index. Cool. So I guess it's a time for the first poll, Sriram.
Yep. So guys, you will see a screen popping up. Just take a few seconds and give your answers. The poll should be coming up right about now. You guys can see it? All right, guys, we don't have too much time. Let's quickly vote. I'll give you about 20 seconds. Question is, how much percentage of traffic do websites get from Google organic results? I have 71 out of 100 votes already. Great. 10 more seconds, guys. Let's get all the votes in. Okay, 80 votes in. All right, last 5 seconds. Okay. I'm going to end the poll. Let's share the results, Venkat. Let's see if this is what you expected.
Yeah, so the right answer is 53%, but yeah,
Whoa.
so it's I think, yeah, 17% of people got it right. But yeah, so this is actually based on a Bright Edge Bright Edge study, which has been done in 2019 or 2020. Like it analyzed close to some 100,000 websites, and it has seen like where these websites have been getting traffic from. And obviously Google organic, or like the organic results, came on top, close to like 53%. And the next is the paid search. Again, like the links, 3 to 4 ad spots, like which you typically see on the top of the search engine result pages, with like some 25% or so. The rest is direct and organic. I'm direct and referral, and I think close to 5% is like the social media websites. Yep.
Got it. Okay. We can move on.
Right answer, 53.
Yeah, 53 is the right answer, Vijay.
All
Cool.
right.
So I'm not sure who added this annotation, but yeah, I can see that here.
Yeah, I'll guys, request you guys not to annotate on the screen. Go ahead, Venkat. I'll disable that. Huh? Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. So now coming to the tools part. So we have covered like what on page is briefly, on or what off page is, what technical SEO is. Now we will probably, we will see like what are the key things like to monitor in each of these subtypes of SEO, and what are some of the tools like which actually help us in doing this, right? So the first part is coming to the on page, like the single most important thing would be the keyword research, and through which like we can actually do the content optimization also on the website, or yeah, on the website. So the keyword research is important due to the fact that, I mean, like when you are actually researching or like when people end up researching for something on any of these search engine result pages, so we need to know like what exactly they're searching for, right? In the sense, like you can probably have a set of seed keywords, or you can probably look from the competition as to like what exactly they are ranking for, and then you can come up with that seed list, and then you can go to any of these keyword research tools, and you can try to get more keyword research ideas, and also the search volumes related to that. More of that like we will cover in the Google Keyword Planner demo, which is a few minutes later. But yeah, so this other aspect is the coming to the off page. So the single most important thing is the backlinks, like the entire research about it, like how is your website doing, how are the competitors doing, and what are the link profiles, and like where are some of your direct competitors, are where are they doing good, where are you lagging behind. And also as a continuous process, like we should also keep a monitor, we should also keep a check on this. We should continuously monitor this, because like this is going to be an equally important factor compared to the on-page SEO, in order to boost your rankings. The third will be technical SEO related, as I was mentioning, right? So we should make sure that there are no crawling or indexing issues. Your website is well crawled and read by Googlebot or any other search engine bot. So for that aspect, like we should be doing a detailed technical SEO audit. Like this, we might not be doing that frequently, but once in a month or once in a quarter, like we can do a detailed audit. And during the other time, like we should just set up some rules to monitor some of these, how some of these metrics are moving, right? So in case like a section of your website is broken, or some pages are becoming 404, or some pages of your pages of your website are not being crawled, you should be getting those in your tools or alerts, right? So that is also something which is important. So once doing all these three, like the obvious outcome which we kind of expect is like our rankings will improve for the target keywords, and our traffic will improve, right? And also, yeah, so even once we get the traffic, we should also make sure that if the user intent is being met for the traffic, additional traffic, or the new traffic which we are getting. So even that analysis, like which we can do from some of the user experience metrics, like say bounce rate, or average time on page, or session length, or conversion rate, or things like that. So coming to the first one within this, the keyword research. So as I was mentioning, so one of the ways like which
Venkat sir, good evening.
Hey, hi Kishan again.
Guys, I request you to please stay on mute and let's not interrupt the speaker. Thanks.
Sorry, yeah. So so as I was mentioning, so for the keyword research, like first what we should be getting is like, once we have decided of what is our product or what is our service, and whom does this cater to, right? And what are the possible terms or the categories like which people might be searching for on any of the search engines. Like we should make a list of those and more like which will act as a seed list for us. Or what we can do is like we can figure out a website or a list of websites which are exactly offering this particular product or service, and see like where they are getting traffic from, and or like if they are getting any relevant traffic or not, right? We can make a list of both of these. And then what we should be figuring out is we should be figuring out the keyword volumes. I mean, like how many people search for this, and what is the difficulty of these particular keywords. I mean, like how competitive are these? In some of the cases, like it might make sense to go for a lesser competitive keyword rather than I mean, like rather than a heavy competition keyword, because like winning there is comparatively easier, right, than winning a highly competitive keyword. So once we get the keyword volumes and also difficulty competition, then what we should be doing is like we should be making getting numbers for opportunity, how much opportunity is present, depending upon if you're already ranking for those keywords, or if you're starting new for those keywords. And if you're ranking at say like spot 2 or spot 3 or spot 4 or 1, like how much CTR you can expect, and thereby like you can even forecast the traffic, right? How much traffic you can expect by doing some of these things. And another thing is like the head and the long tail keywords, which we'll discuss a bit more while we are going through the demo, I mean, of one of the tools. And even the primary and secondary target keywords, right? Like we might be having a page might be targeting one primary keyword, and all the additional keywords probably can be used as to beef up the content within the page, or within the headers or HTML titles, or any other place, right? So, but we can try to make all these secondary keywords all as semantic as possible, as relevant as possible to the primary keyword, so that like we don't need to end up creating a tons of new pages, and instead like we can group them better and try to target and pages accordingly. And last and also the most important one is doing a competitive analysis. Like if you're already in a domain like where most of your competitors are seeing very good traffic from organic sources, it makes sense to analyze them and see like from what keywords, how much traffic they are getting, and if there is any opportunity for our brand or our website also to go after these particular keywords, or if there are any new opportunities like which we can be leveraging. So
yeah, I think couple of questions have already started coming in, Venkat, but I'll let you finish this slide and then maybe we can pick up those questions and then we get into the demo.
Okay, so some of the tools which help in doing the keyword research is one. My personal favorite is the Google Keyword Planner. Although it is initially or like ideally used by the PPC managers or like the people who are doing SEM for Google Ads, but this is the closest to the real search volume data which you can get, because like there are other tools like which we will be seeing here, say the likes of Ahrefs or SEMrush or Google Keyword Tool IO or even Ubersuggest and few other tools. But almost all of these, like their approximation or estimation is a bit off compared to the Google Keyword Planner. And Google, even Google doesn't give an exact number, but it is still better than the other keyword tools out there. So we'll get into the demo and probably we'll walk through a particular example or use case. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a keyword planner. So this is kind of a freemium model in the sense like when you're setting up Google Ads on your own, in the sense you might not be able to see this. You need to change it to the Google Ads expert mode, and then probably run a campaign probably for $1 or ₹1 or so, and probably you can leave it paused. Only then you would be able to see the actual data. Else, like they might just show an estimation. So I'll get to that there. So maybe like we'll pick up an example of shoes. Like if you are an e-commerce website, like probably you want to make a new e-commerce website on shoes, say in India. So we can put some category keywords here by type, by brand. And then I'm setting the target location as India here. Here you can target by country, or you can target by city or by state. So if your product is or business is pretty local, like you can even go to the city level and see how the search results are.
And Venkat, this is available for anybody to use, even if you're not investing in Google Ads. Can we just use Google Planner just to search?
So we can use that, but the number you see here, this would be in a range. Say instead of giving 3 lakhs here, probably what would be mentioned is 100K to 1 million. So this will be mentioned as probably 1,000 to 100K instead of giving the exact answer. So that's the only change. But yeah, so even if you want to get the exact data, I mean, like all it needs is probably starting a campaign with just like ₹1 and probably leaving it paused. Even that works.
Got it. That's a hack.
Understood. Yeah.
I think Rashmi has a question saying how keywords work for bloggers. I guess that's the trick there, right? So you just have to set up a ₹1 account and then Rashmi, you can start using Keyword Planner.
Yeah. So I don't think there is any free keyword tool like which does everything perfectly. I mean, like the closest is this, because like even if you go to say the likes of Ahrefs, which is on a free trial till like 7 days or so, or SEMrush, I guess, like which has till like 30 days or so, or Keyword Tool IO, which only gives like the top 10 results. I mean, like if you need from more than 11, like you need to pay again, right? So I think this is the closest to do the initial research at least, and then later probably once you have some budget to put into or invest into one of these tools, then probably you can head into Ahrefs, because there it has a bit more functionality or features compared to the Google Keyword Planner. So so coming to some of these features here, like you can select like multiple countries, like if you want to, or within the country, particular states or particular cities. And again, if you want to go by languages, although you can't select multiple languages here, like if you want to say how many searches are happening only in Hindi, maybe for that, the seed keyword should be in Hindi itself. I mean, like if you give English keywords and put Hindi, we might get some data, but I'm not sure like how accurate that would be. And then the default time range is the last 12 months. Why we have 12 months here is that to probably negate the seasonality effect, because like there might be some keywords like which are probably significant only during some months of the year, right? So if someone is searching for an AC or a cooler, the highest keyword volumes for that would be in April, May, and June. And for rest of the months, like it is pretty flat, right? So to negate that, he give, I mean, like the default one is last 12 months. But if you still want to see like on a specific month, and if you know that in which month like your particular keyword has the highest trend, right? So the trend is something which you can also see here by month, like how many people like in November, like for some reason, like the search terms, I mean, like the search volume is like the highest in India for these terms, like whatever I have put, plus also the keyword ideas, which Keyword Planner has additionally given, right? So it came up with this 9,300 keyword ideas. So and within these, like again, like if you can use the filter functionality, you can see like what are say the keywords which with average monthly searches more than say 1,000 or 10,000. If you want to only look at some of these head keywords, like it's an easier way to figure this out from here. And yeah, so this is coming to the charts. So you can break this down by platforms. It also tells like how many searches are happening on mobile versus desktop or tablet. One significant insight from this is like, see, 92% of the searches are happening on mobile devices. So if you are actually getting or trying to create a website or a blog around this, like you should make sure that your website is well optimized for mobile, be it from a responsiveness standpoint or from a reading standpoint or from a conversion standpoint, right? So that is something which you should be checking for. Even there is a breakdown by locations, but it only gives the top 4, typically top 5, and rest it will club under the other states, right? Here you can go again by state or even city level. Or if you think that in a particular city is of your target area or your concern, then you can probably just search for just that city and get a little bit more breakdown on that, and or get an exact keyword volume from that. So the other thing is this is a kind of a new functionality from Google. So Google itself tries to group these keywords, say by brand or non-brand, like how many of these keywords have say sneakers in it, or how many of these keywords have Nike in it or Puma in it, Adidas in it. Nike and Puma are high because like that's part of our seed keywords. But if you want to get comparison between all these brands, like you can probably put in everything into this seed keywords and you can get to see like which of these brands are more popular, right? And even how many keywords have a retailer name against it. Probably people are searching for Nike shoes on Amazon, running shoes on Amazon or Flipkart or things like that. And even by type, by color, for gender, I mean like shoes for men, running shoes for men, shoes for kids maybe, and color. So, and you can also get this grouping here. So which makes it a little bit easier. It's loading, we'll give it a second. So it itself categorized like say Timberland boots, like all these keywords are related to Timberland boots. You can just download the entire Excel and see like which of these groups have higher search volume. And again, from this competition, although it is related to PPC, like this will give you an idea as to like if you're seeing a high there, most likely people are bidding for these terms. If people are bidding for these terms, it more or less implies that they're getting revenue for these terms, right? So you can take the entire dump into Excel. You can see, and you can from this, like what you need to figure out is from competition, from groups and everything, you need to figure out like what pages like you need to be creating, or be it a category page, or be it a product listing page, or be it individual single product pages. Or if you want to run a blog, I mean like if you want to create a blog, I mean like you can see like on which particular keywords like we should be focusing on, or what your overall blog content strategy should be, right? Like if you're an e-commerce, say website like which is selling shoes. So yeah, so these are some of the ideas. Any questions?
Yeah, so Deepak is asking, does the keyword planner work for YouTube search data as well?
No, so keyword planner doesn't work for YouTube. So instead, like what you can be trying is Ahrefs or keyword tool IO, and there are some YouTube specific keyword planners also. I mean, like not by Google, by different brands. But I think the best out there currently is Ahrefs or keywordtool.io. You can use those for YouTube. Yeah.
Got it. I think Deepak, that answers your second question as well. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just a quick time check. Venkat, we are at 6:35. So should we switch to the next section? Cool. Time for another poll, guys. Again, I will give 30 seconds. Let's get the poll going. Okay, do you guys see the poll?
Yes.
Okay. 10 more seconds. How many votes do we have, Rumpi?
Sir, I'm not able to see the poll.
Is everybody able to see the poll?
No, sir, even me.
No, sir.
It was visible for me that.
Yeah, I think 60 people have already taken the poll. I think it might be because of the Zoom version. Sometimes if you have an old version, the polling feature might not be available.
Can you show it once again?
Rumpi, is it still on? That's okay. There are 2 more polls coming up. We'll keep it on for another 30 seconds on the next one. Cool. Can we see the results, Rumpi? Okay. Sorry, guys. Even I'm not able to see the poll. So, Rumpi, what's the status? Venkat, what are you seeing?
So I guess the second time around 52 people voted. Even the first time, most of them got it right. It's 15%. Every day, like almost like 15% of the search queries like which Google see are completely new, because people are always curious and probably they end up searching for something which is new, or I mean, probably Google is not able to figure out the exact this thing. But the same thing, like what Google came up with, I think sometime last year, is a new neural network based technique for NLP training, which is called as BERT. I mean, like for all these newer keywords, like which come up to Google, which Google sees like every day, 15% of the keywords, like it tries to figure out like what the intent is and tries to map it with one of the keywords like which are already in their particular system, right? So it tries to figure that out using the natural language processing techniques. Yep, but yeah, most of the people got it right. It's 15%.
Perfect. Cool. Good job, guys. All right, Venkat.
Yeah.
What's next?
I think owing to time constraint, I guess like we'll quickly move among.
Yeah. So we had 3 more tools to discuss, right? If you had to pick one more tool to run a demo, which one would that be?
So I think this won't take much time anyway. So probably we can go through the backlinks. So coming to the off-page SEO part, one of the main things like which we need to consider or I mean like monitor or analyze is the number of backlinks of your own website, and even the competitors, like to keep a check on it, like who are actually I mean like outranking you in the Google search engine results, right? So a few things like to look for here is like what is the total number of backlinks you have from how many domains, like what is your domain authority or domain ranking, how does your link profile look like, and how many of them are do follow or no follow, And what are some of the bad links, like links which are getting from low DR websites, like which you should actually be disavowing them in the search console. And it even gives an idea for, like, if you are very low on links, like it gives you an idea for looking at some of these competitors or other websites. Like you can see like what type of content you should be churning out, be it for your blog or be it for your website, which makes it link building worthy, right? And then probably whom to outreach to, or like whom to reach out to, what other blogs actually accept guest posts or take links for some of these content like which you have published, right? So all these like we can be able to, we should be able to get from the off-page research. So some of these tools, I mean, like most of these tools do it, but my personal favorite, and also I guess it's across the internet, Ahrefs is the best tool for the backlink research, because the index has, I guess it's only second to Google, and no other tool has the number of backlinks or even the crawl capacity, right? Ahrefs has the best. Previously, Moz and Majestic used to do good. That was probably 5 to 10 years back, but they are a bit lagging behind now. Even SEMrush, I mean, I think off late it also came into this link building, and it's not that up to the mark, but Ahrefs is the winner here, hands down. And I'll quickly show a demo of what you can check in Ahrefs. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So here, like we can put in the demo, put in the domain, like which we want to analyze, be it your own domain or be it your competitor. And then we have some additional options here, like whether we want to analyze the exact URL or exact path, like where you probably want to see only a subfolder or the entire domain or the domain with subdomains, right? So for now, I'm doing all the entire domain with subdomains. And then you see a basic version like this. So these are the important metrics to focus on here. So the UR, DR, more than the UR, like the DR is the most important thing. So if someone comes and, or like if even for yourself, like if you want to know like which website is doing good from an off-page SEO perspective, right? DR is the number. I'm like DR is something that which you should look for, which will more or less tell if the website is doing good or bad in terms of link profile. And these are the total number of backlinks, say probably my smart price has got, and how many domains are linking. A particular domain might link multiple times to my smart price or any website, right? So even this is something which we need to look at. So it can't be like there are very few domains and very high number of backlinks, which means that a single domain is linking to your site, like say probably 1,000 or lakhs of times. So that's actually bad from a off-page standpoint. So it won't add much value. But these are the numbers, like main things like which you should be looking at. And Ahrefs rank is something like which is largely based on DR anyway. I guess the best DR, Facebook has the best DR according to Ahrefs, and Facebook's ranking is one. But related to that, like the DR and everything else is calculated for every other website on the internet. So you can see the trend of the backlink profile here, how many backlinks you're adding for your own website or your competitor's website, like how is it adding over time on day by day. And here is a quick snapshot of how many of them are do follow. So one thing what we should be looking at is like what is a do follow versus no follow thing, link distribution for your website. So in simplest terms, like no follow is like telling Google that I don't trust this link and don't pass the page rank. That's how no follow got started. But although like there have been many changes to it off late, because like people have been spamming Google repeatedly by getting links from some of these forums or directories, Google introduced no follow. But what you should be looking for is like we can't be having all do follow links also. That kind of tells that you're trying to game the system. So a healthy link profile would probably have a 70 to 30 or an 80 to 20 do follow to no follow ratio. And then some of these links actually help depending upon what category your brand or website is into. And even there is a further split. I mean, if you're getting from forums or if you're getting from paid links, most of the people, what they end up doing is like the easiest way to do is like getting paid links, right? Pay some webmaster and get a link. So you can still do it at a smaller scale, but if the composition of those paid links increase in number, then Google will kind of figure it out. Either two things can happen then, right? So all the paid links you're creating or getting is either useless, or you'll get a manual penalty, and like you will as well lose the entire domain rating. And then it's, if you are actually getting a manual penalty, it's a lot of work to actually fix that. So
Guys,
yeah.
request you guys to stay on mute. So Venkat, on that, there's a follow-up question, right, from Aman. He says, should I go for Fiverr or any other freelancers for link building? And many of the his friends suggest him to not to go with them. So is there any other easy way and less time-consuming way for link building?
So I think the simplest way to put it is, if you're getting a link for easily, then most likely it's a bad link. Yeah, so there is no easy way, and definitely we should be going for people like who have connects with a lot of these other websites, like where they can go ahead and put in a link for some money, right? So because these can be easily figured out by Google. I mean, like Google went after all these private blog networks sometime back, like 2 or 3 years back, and all these freelancers or agencies which tell that they sell links, you should definitely not get it for them. Instead, what you can do is, like, you can probably try to do a one-on-one exchange with specific blogs or specific websites of your interest. You can reach out to their webmaster or to their blog authors, and you can try to see if they'll place your link and you'll place their link. And that also, like, you should be doing in moderation. But the best way to do is, like, try to figure out how you get organic links, right? I mean, there would be someone in your competition, in your category, like who is actually getting a lot of these organic backlinks. Go ahead and analyze, like, what is the content, right, of that. Say if you go a little below here, you can see the best by links and best by links growth. So you can go to any, you can put in any website and you can see what are the best links, best URLs of that website which got a lot of backlinks, right? So you can figure that out. You can figure out some content ideas from that. Or yeah, so I guess that's the best way. And yeah, you shouldn't go for easy links for sure.
Got it. And I think one follow-up there is, can press releases help build backlinks? Are they helpful?
Press releases might help in the brand awareness or the number of brand mentions, but typically all these press releases, like Google is pretty smart enough to figure out that they are the closest to a sponsored link, so they don't have a negative value and they won't have a lot of positive value also. In all probability, they might just be neutral. But for your own brand awareness, they might actually help, because like all these press releases, how they help is like it in turn will be covered by a lot of other press and websites also, and you'll be getting a lot of organic brand mentions. So that's actually good over a long run.
Got it. Perfect. Cool.
So yeah, that's about yeah, Hrefs. And what do you, Sriram? Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so guys, I think you must have seen, at least a glimpse of some of the tools that is going to help you on both the keyword research and also how to understand, how do you understand how well you are in terms of your authority, domain authority, or whatever the different tools are calling it nowadays, right? Between Moz and RFs and so on, based on the backlinking. Now, what we have done at Antwork is that we have, just to take one step back, we have, working with folks like Venkat, who have close to 10 years of experience in this domain, who have got their hands really dirty in executing some of this stuff, even when digital marketing was in a very nascent stage. And now, of course, it's evolved to a very, becoming one of the most important spaces in the industry, right? And we have brought in a lot of such experts to come and walk you guys through, folks who are trying to become, upskill yourself in digital marketing or trying to make a career in digital marketing. We have brought a set of experts like Venkat, who are going to be running this 16-week boot camp. Venkat, if you don't mind going to the next slide, right? I'll just walk the folks. So it's basically think of it as a boot camp where you will have 8 to 10 really good experts coming from MoEngage, Netflix, Amazon, Google, who will be taking time and conducting these live classes over the weekends, taking you through the fundamentals of digital marketing, right from SEO, social media marketing, marketing analytics, and brand and storytelling, content marketing, and so on. Across all these topics, we'll be spending 16 weeks. You'll get hands-on experience, real-life projects using some of these tools. For example, the SEO module that Venkat is going to conduct is going to the 1 week project is going to be running a full website audit for an e-commerce company across off-page, on-page, and technical using the tools that we just went through, right? So there will be at least 8 to 10 projects that you'll be working on during these 16 weeks. And at the end of this boot camp, you will be able to, you would have got the experience required to become or enter the domain with a lot of practical know-how. Of course, along the boot camp, we have other elements of how do you become better as a professional using your soft skills, whether it is communication, presentation skills, how do you even negotiate with your employer. We will do a bunch of mock interviews for you people and ensure that after the boot camp there is a good set of interviews that you'll be able to take and get your right job in digital marketing. So if you guys are interested, please click on the link below. Do apply. One of our education counselors will definitely reach out to you, give you a lot more details around the expert, the projects, and so on. And looking forward to at least some of you starting, our batch. The batch is going to be starting in the end of this month. We have a very limited class of about 30 to 35 because it's a completely live, immersive kind of a cohort. So it's a limited batch size. So if you guys are really interested, please apply soon. I think we have an offer also today. If you guys apply in the next 60 minutes, there is an immediate discount of about 5,000 rupees for anybody who's attended this event and applied today. So please, if you're really interested, do apply and we will get back to you shortly with more details. Back to you, Venkat.
Yeah, so adding to what Sriram has been saying, so one key USP which I find with Antwork is, right, so this is actually real insights and real learning from, like real professionals, in the sense like if you're getting a digital marketing certification from any other institutes, typically what we see is like there's a professor from some college or there's a certified tutor or educator like who probably might not have done a lot of things himself or herself, right? So that is one thing like which I see as the key USP for Antwork, and some of these projects like which we are actually making or designing for this boot camp, I guess like they stand alone like will add a value of doing an internship like 2 months or so. So this will add value to like whoever is looking to kickstart or like upskill their digital marketing skills. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks for those words, Venkat.
Yeah, so these are all the different islands. Like I'll go through this quickly. So I'll be looking after the search engine optimization island, like which is of like 3 to 4 classes, and we'll be getting pretty detailed into like whatever we have just discussed today. In the sense like probably we didn't even scratch the surface into getting to know some of these things like which were discussed today, be it in on-page or off-page or technical SEO, right? Including ASO. So we'll be getting a little more detail into this. So like, yeah, so you can go ahead to the website link and sign up for it, like if you're interested.
All right. Do we have another poll for the audience, Venkat, or should we move on to the
I think we can move on. I don't think we have a lot of time left. So
sure.
Yeah, I'll quickly cover the technical SEO aspect of it. So this is primarily to fix and monitor and fix all the crawl and indexing issues. So I mean, like if irrespective of like we have the best website, like Googlebot or any other search engine bot is not able to see it, so it's of no use, right? So I'll quickly go to the tool for this. There are a lot of tools which actually help in the technical SEO aspect. My personal favorite again here is Screaming Frog. So this is not an online tool in the sense like you should be downloading a desktop application, but it's available on both Mac and Windows, and then we should try to mimic a Googlebot and run a crawl of the entire website. So there are other tools like again Ahrefs or SEMrush which do a site audit, and even the Search Console which gives some insights into some of these crawl and indexing related issues. So So I've already run a crawl because it does take time. So I've crawled it for my own, like the web company I'm working for, MoEngage. So if you can see here, you can configure the spider to mimic a Google bot, like how Google bot would crawl your website. And yeah, so in the user agent here, like you can be selecting Google bot desktop or Google bot smartphone. So it's ideal to check with both. And then it will try to mimic like how Googlebot is actually crawling all your pages, and then respecting all the robots or any other directives like which I've told or which I've already set up, right? So you'll get a complete so the scroll is only 40% done, but what you can see is like you can get to see all the HTML titles, say the meta descriptions, the H1s, H2s, what images are there, what are the page titles, what images, what are the sizes, and everything on the website, right? Like whatever the bot is able to crawl, their size, and if that's indexable or not. You can just go to the internal section here and see like if you're getting a status score 200 here, like it's been crawled well. But if you're seeing any other issues here, say the likes of 404 or the status is blocked by robots or connection timeout or refused, like here we can get to see these as non-indexable. So if this is intentional, we can leave it aside. But if it's not, we should be going and seeing why exactly these pages are not being crawled by the bot. So that's for the status code and indexing. And we can also see.
So I think Abhishek had a question at the start of the session, Venkat. What is a tagline and how can we know about the tagline of any website? So I guess Screaming Frog will allow him to do that, right?
Yeah. So I'm assuming like he meant the HTML title. So you can get to see everything here, and not just your own website, right? I mean, like most of the websites you should be able to crawl. Even if you want to see competitors' website, how their site structure has been, how they have, I mean, like what is their subfolder structure and how many pages they have within the subfolder and everything. Like we would be able to see, and how many of them are actually indexable, non-indexable. So we can be seeing the entire thing here. And once we connect some of these APIs, like say analytics, like that will map with the data of which of these pages have higher bounce rate and issues. And we can also connect it with the page speed insights API, like where we can be knowing like how fast these pages are loading or which pages have issues and what issues like which are needed to be fixed, like removing CSS, minifying CSS, or properly sized images. Like some images might be having a lot of, I mean, like more than required size. And all these, I can't be probably covering everything in the session, but this is a free tool for like 500 URLs. So what you can do is like you can just download and see like what all is possible through the tool. And if it makes sense, like this comes with an annual license, which costs like close to 100 or 120 pounds, I guess. But that's annual, and like any number of people can use that a single license. So if it makes sense, like probably you can buy it. But even with a free tool, you can, which limits to 500 URLs, like you'll be able to see what all is possible with this tool.
Got it.
So coming back to the final one, in the sense like once we have done all these things, like how do we better track like whatever we have been doing. So I haven't covered standalone rank tracking tools here. So there are a lot of tools like which do standalone rank tracking. There are tools like which do rank tracking as one of the features, like which Ahrefs is a part of it. For me, like I thought like Search Console is a better tool to go ahead with here, at least like for the queries like where you're already ranking. Like this gives a near perfect data as to like where you are ranking and what you can do. And this also has, this is a free tool again, the Search Console. So it also gives more insights into the tech SEO aspects, like which we were discussing some time back. And apart from that, like we can also be leveraging Google Analytics, and we can be seeing like once we get the data from these organic channels, like how are they behaving on the website? What are the user metrics? How is the average time on page, bounce rate, session time, how many conversions happened, and stuff like that. So we'll quickly go to the Search Console. So this is for this to happen, like you should be adding your site. So I'm like, if you're not part of, I'm like, you can probably contact your dev guys and add a small snippet of code or an HTML file. You can upload it on the header and head section of the code, and you can get access to the website. And you can submit a sitemap here, and you can see like how you have been ranking on Google. So for simplicity, like I've I've removed all the brand mentions of MoEngage, so that we can see all the how we are doing for some of the non-branded keywords. So this, how we can use is, so we have some additional filters here, like we can see like depending upon the position, this is the position in the organic search and organic results page. We can try to see like which ones of these have a very good search volume and try to up the position here. So for omnichannel marketing at 6.7 position, we just have 1.4 CTR, right? So, but if we move this to second or third spot, maybe we can be having like some 5 or 6% CTR or more than that. So that will improve the clicks and the traffic. So we can be estimating where are the opportunities or the low performing keywords from this particular sheet. And what we can also be doing is we can be seeing like what are some of the high performing keywords from a position perspective, but they're not getting those many clicks, right? So if I perform a normal search, say for omni-channel marketing, what I see is like there is a feature snippet here. So technically in the search console doesn't consider this as #1 position, and instead this as the #1 position. So although we are ranking 2 here, like we won't be getting that much CTRs because like there is a feature snippet here, and there is a people also ask widget like which takes away that real estate. So we should be trying to get into this. So there are like tips and tricks like how to get into feature snippet, which has again to do with some of the on-page SEO techniques. So but at least like we can get both the underperforming keywords and high performing and low high position and low performing low CTR keywords from this particular thing. And also in the coverage section, right? So since we've also discussed the technical issue some time back, from your own sitemap, you can get to see what are the pages which have issues, and also like what type of issues. So all this is like self-explanatory in the sense like you can go and see like what are these exact URLs which have issues, and you can go and fix them one by one. Yeah. So this is a pretty good tool, and in the sense like this is also a free tool, and since the data is coming directly from Google, so we can actually bank upon some of these the search results or the rankings related to that.
Right. Only thing is you need to have access to your website, the domain, right?
Yeah. Else, like what you can do is like for rank tracking, you can leverage Ahrefs or any of these individual rank tracking tools from Link Assistant, or almost all the tools like provide rank tracking as a feature now. So yeah, so that's where you can probably put in a list of seed keywords, and you can be monitoring them week on week or month on month.
Got it. Okay, so I think we can do one poll, I guess. We have a few minutes. I'll in the meanwhile, Rumpi, can you start the poll, please? The last poll before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me start. Okay. Yes. It started.
All right, guys, take a few seconds to give your answers. I'll give them 20 seconds. In the meanwhile, so I think Poonam has a question in the meanwhile, Venkat. How can I check blog comments are do follow or no follow? She thinks most of them are no follow.
Yeah, so the blog comments, depending upon what that particular blog has, how they have particularly coded. I mean, most of the blog comments are as well no follow, but what you can be checking those in Ahrefs, like we were doing a demo a few minutes back, right? So there is a section for UGC, like where all the blog comments will actually get logged in, and there is also a filter of forums, like where Ahrefs will try to figure out like how many links we have got from the blogs as blog comments, and how many of them are do follow or no follow. But mostly from what I see, like most of these blog comments are no follow anyway, and they don't add any value. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Let me end the poll. 42%. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think most of the people got it right. It's 0.78%.
78%.
Yeah. So there's also a joke that if you want to hide a dead body, you should probably put it in the second page of Google. But it's not as such zero, but yeah, from some studies, like there are actually 0.78% of people who actually go to second page and click on any of the links
Got
from
it.
second page or more. Yeah.
Very, very interesting stat. A couple of questions on the career related in digital marketing, Venkat. If you
Mhm.
have a few more minutes, right?
Sure.
Harshada is asking, I have 2 years experience in web development and I want to get into digital marketing. And as you have done BTech and were a data analyst, in which field of digital marketing can I start with?
Yeah, so I think if you're a bit inclined towards data, I think both the SEO and the SEM would be a good one to start with. SEM or the performance marketing, definitely, where probably you can leverage large amounts of data. In a B2C setup, typically is what I'm considering. So that might be a good thing to start with, because the other aspects, and again, like probably you can get started on the SEO part also, like where we might be able to leverage large amounts of data and try to make sense of it and get some hypothesis or experiments tested. So I think these two might be a good this thing, because for other aspects we might need some experience or some interest in that, be it the content marketing or the social media or any of the other ones.
Got it. I think there are 2 or 3 more questions. Before I ask that, Venkat, I think we just have a quick feedback, 2-minute feedback poll also coming up. Guys, just take a couple of minutes and just let us know how the session was. It will help us improve further sessions and bring a lot more interesting content for you guys in the next master classes. Rumpi, let's
we have 5 questions actually, so you can choose. Okay,
Cool.
let me launch the poll.
Okay, in the meanwhile, I think Akanksha has a question. Venkat sir, what is the average salary slab in your experience in digital marketing industry? Might be a tough one for you, Venkat.
Yeah, it's actually a tough one. I guess it depends in like which aspect of digital marketing we are getting into, right? And even within that, I guess SEO, probably the way how probably people have leveraged it in India, we might be starting at a smaller scale. SEM might be a bit more high, because you're clearly involved with the budgets. And yeah, I mean, it depends on which specific function within the digital marketing, and if you're as well getting into all the aspects of digital marketing, it should definitely be more. But I don't think I have a definite number or an answer for that question.
Okay. And typically freshers, I think for SEO, Avani is asking what could be a range, what could be a starting range for them?
For freshers, I guess maybe for SEO, we can expect something around 25 to 30 at least. It can only be more than that. But yeah, so also depends upon how much important SEO is for that particular company, right? If it's just one of the many initiatives which they have, or if they're not banking too much on SEO, I guess like the pay would be likewise. But if the industry is in such a way that you need to be banking on a lot on SEO, then it would be on higher side. Yeah.
Got it. Gruha has a question. What are the best marketing tools to learn for career growth? Is it HubSpot or Adobe Cloud or anything else?
So, but again, like marketing, within which part of marketing? I mean, like if you're dealing with acquisition, or if you're dealing with retention, it depends on that. But as well for inbound marketing, I guess HubSpot is a good HubSpot Academy is a good this thing to start with anyway. And other than that, I guess there are a lot of tools and courses by Google itself, be it for I'm like even for SEO, even for SEM, so which you can be leveraging. I'm like there is a lot of data. I mean this thing already on internet information. From an acquisition standpoint, I guess for overall inbound standpoint, HubSpot is the decent one. But if you're looking at retention or a few other aspects, we don't have a lot of content at the moment. I mean, like that is something like which we are also kind of doing at MoEngage now. I mean, we do have some courses. We do have a growth academy where we are focusing on a lot of courses around retention. But yeah.
Got it. I think there is one question here. It's very interesting from Nikhil. With the increasing number of Google algorithms, will it be possible for a new domain to even rank?
Yep. So it is definitely possible, but as I was mentioning in the first slide, right? So it's not that easy, like how things used to be in like early 2000s or around 2010, right? So you can't be just putting in keywords, stuffing in keywords, or getting in few backlinks, paid or not, and then trying to see that you'd be coming up, right? So here, what you should be in turn doing is like you should be having a very long term strategy. I mean, like most of these results, like which you try for SEO, right? Like you won't be getting results right away, unlike a paid campaign or unlike some of these other campaigns like which you run on marketing. So you can only expect results like 4 to 6 months down the line at least for most of the things like which you do in bulk. So from that aspect, like you should be having a proper content strategy in place, because like that is still the base, right? If I can put it that way. I mean, like the content you should be thinking about like what how you're going to help your target audience. You should be trying to come up with a detailed content strategy, and then on top of it, like you should be working for you should be looking at SEO optimization.
Correct. I think who was this? Poonam also got it right, man. She said content is king. For newly created site, it's possible with quality content. So yeah, Poonam, you're on the right track. I think last one, Akanksha, largest contentful paint, that's LCP. Okay, measures loading performance. Okay, LCP should occur within 2.5 seconds. Akanksha, I don't understand your question. Do you have a question here? I think
Let me see that.
the last one.
Last question. Yeah, larger measures. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, for the
My
lack of time, I
question
didn't
is-
get into most of these
Go
core
to
web
that.
vitals because
Sir, which is good for career and business, like PPC, Google Ads, or social media marketing? For career, which is bad, which is good for?
so I would, I mean, I would incline towards PPC, but social is also catching up. I mean, especially if you're in a B2B setup, I mean, social is much more important. And in a B2C also it's important, but probably you can't be directly measuring or attributing your success or revenue to social. Social might still be used as a channel, like which is to generate a lot of this top of the funnel brand awareness, right? And the brand recall, and probably how you're helping your customers or consumers. But yeah, so I would be inclined towards PPC, because like you can get to learn a lot. I mean, not just PPC, even the overall performance marketing as an island, right? I mean, like, be it by social, I'm not sure like if you meant just organic social or even the paid social part of it. But if that's the case, I suggest the entire performance marketing one. So which spans across Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Instagram, and whatnot. I guess like nowadays there are TikTok ads and for Twitter, whatever, right? So it's better to get into that.
Perfect. I think it's a good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vijay. Like I was saying, Venkat, fantastic session. I think we were in a short period of time, we were at least able to go through 4 different areas of SEO and also give a very interesting demo for each of those tools. I think it was a brilliant session. We have quite a few, people still here, so I can see the success of the session already, and we would be happy, very, very excited to bring you back for more such sessions in the future. Thanks everyone for coming on a call. I know it's a weekday 6 p.m., but I'm glad you guys were able to make it, and I'm hope you found it very useful. We will be hosting more such sessions. We have one session tomorrow coming from Gursimran Singh, who's the head of strategy at JioSaavn. He will be talking about brand and storytelling, and overall, how do you, what's a typical career? How do you jumpstart your career in digital marketing? So please do sign up for that. And we have more sessions coming over the next week. Check out antwalk.com/events page if you want to see what are the upcoming events. Thank you. Thanks, Venkat, once again, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, Sriram. Thanks everyone for joining, and I hope the session was insightful and helpful. So if you have any queries, maybe like you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Yeah. Thanks everyone.